Hi everyone.
Hello.
This is our final video of the Ashtanga primary series tutorial for beginners. Phew. Yeah, we have announced in many of the previous videos that there will be a finishing sequence. And here we go.
We promise.
Yeah, and you might remember that I mentioned quite a few times that it's quite important to do the finishing sequence. And it actually doesn't really matter if you do the full primary series. It just matters that you come onto the mat, you start the practice with the sun salutations, and then you end at that pose where you feel, this one challenges you the most and you don't have the energy to continue further in the primary series. Then my suggestion is just stop there and just go straight into the finishing sequence. And that's also traditionally how all of these teachers have been teaching the Ashtanga yoga asanas. Yeah, so we'll do modifications in the finishing sequence as well. You don't have to go into the full postures at all. Yeah, I think we can get started. Okay, so we've finished the Setu Bandhasana if you're doing the full primary series, and the Setu Bandhasana, if you can remember, is the one where you have the Charlie Chaplin feet, you're lying on the back first, then you're coming onto the top of the head, and then you're lifting yourself up. So after you've done the vinyasa, after that one, we are coming into the full wheel poses. And how we get there, we just, if you can turn around first, let's do a downward facing dog first. So we've done the vinyasa, and now we're just stepping or jumping forward again.
Completely? Like
Into seated.
into seated, yeah.
Exactly. Then you just elongate your legs, you lie down, and you bend your knees. So you bring the soles of the feet close to the buttocks. And see if you can touch the heels with your fingertips. Exactly. So if the full wheel is not in your practice, you just come into the bridge pose. And for that, yeah, you just bring the hips a little bit higher up. You can also just separate the feet a little bit further. And just see what's possible. And you can also interlace the fingers behind your buttocks and wiggle the shoulders under a little bit so that it creates more space in your chest. And imagine as if somebody is holding the thighs against you. Just try to bring some pressure against my hands, or just imagine that you're doing that. Exactly. And after 5 breaths, you slowly come back down again. So that's the modification for the bridge. If you want to go into the full wheel, you bring the hands close to the ears. So you bring them on the mat. And very, very slowly, firstly, you can just come onto the top of the head. Just here. If that's enough,
Ich muss direkt reingehen, sorry. Ich kann es nicht.
she has to go straight into it. It's otherwise very challenging for her. You can just come into the top of the head first, or if it's in your practice, you can really push yourself up. 5 breaths here, and again you can slowly come back down. Yeah, you just lie down, take a few breaths here, and then see what's the energy like. Do you want to do more? And I recommend to do 5 at either bridges or 5 wheels. It's up to you. I won't torture Kete any longer.
That's okay.
Yeah. one more wheel?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to.
Alright, let's do it again. So the hands close to the head, and then with one inhale you push yourself up. You really try to activate your thighs and opening up the chest. From time to time you will notice that it'll become more open. And then you can also one day start bringing the hands closer to the feet. So yeah.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah, so if the full wheels are your practice and you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you can slowly start walking the hands closer to the feet. But otherwise just stay there and just really work on that opening of the chest. From here, and that's very different from teacher to teacher. So traditionally they would tell you to do a chakrasana, so the backwards roll, or a vinyasa. And some teachers suggest to come straight into the counter postures. And I personally quite like to go straight into the counter pose because the full wheels can be quite challenging for the back. So you just very slowly come back up into seated. You lengthen your legs and come into the forward fold, Paschimottanasana. And if you at home, if you have any people you're living with, you can ask them to gently assist you and adjust you with that pose. But very gently bringing some weight onto the back. It's really feels quite nice after such a back bend. And you can stay here for up to 8 or 10 breaths. And you can really just relax the feet here. It's all about the counter posture. And after those breaths, you come up with the inhale and you do a vinyasa. Inhaling into upward facing, exhaling, downward facing, and then jumping through or stepping through into seated. And then we're coming to lie down again on the back. And before we go into the shoulder stand sequence, you really just lie down, you prepare yourself mentally for that pose, but don't be too floppy. Really try to activate your legs, your arms are activated, really close to the body. And when you feel that you're ready, with the inhale, you bring your legs up into a shoulder stand. And you can try to hold, to support your back with your hands. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning. It's all about, this time it's really, we're working on the neck area. And on the opening of those areas. And it is recommended to stay in that pose for 25 counts. And a count could be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Here you try to bring the legs together. Remembering the Ujjayi breathing and still remembering the locks, the Mula Bandha, the Uddiyana Bandha. And after 25 counts, very slowly, bring your feet over your head into Halasana, the plow pose. You can interlace your hands behind your back. If that's not possible, you can keep your hands on your spine, on your lower back. That's fine too. Again, there are some minor differences from teacher to teacher. Some teachers teach you to bring the top of the feet onto the ground, and some people say to keep the toes on the mat, on the floor. So it's really up to you what feels comfortable for you. And maybe at the beginning, it's more comfortable to bring the toes on the floor first. Here you just need to stay for 5 breaths. After this one, you come into Karnapidasana, where it's the ear pressure pose. So you try to bring the inner thighs against the ears. And with this one, you can even try to release the toes and bring them flat on the floor. And again, really see what's available for you and for your body. Again, 5 breaths here. And if the first one, the plow, was not possible at all, you can just stay there. You don't have to come into that one. With the next inhale, you try to bring the legs up again in the previous position. This time, traditionally you would come into lotus. If lotus is not in your range, you just do an easy cross with the legs. Can you just do the easy pose first, something like this, and just keep the hands on the lower back. Otherwise, if you want to come into full lotus, and it helps to sometimes wiggle around a little bit and use the hands. Either stay here with the hands supporting the back, or full posture is to press the hands against the thighs. So I'm just going to help here a little bit. You try to bring the legs a little bit higher up.
Die Ellenbogen, wir sind vom Boden weg, oder was?
Yes, the elbows are pushing away. They're actually not touching the mat. So really try to...
Okay, it makes sense now.
Yeah?
I tried with my elbows before.
Yeah. So here, and again, it's quite challenging at the beginning to find the balance, because you will notice you're actually tipping over. So it's all about trial and error, really, and eventually you kind of get the hang out of it. After 5 breaths here, you bring the knees closer to your face and try to grab, yes, the legs all around. This is the embryo pose, Pindasana. And again, 5 breaths here. And after the 5th breath, if you have the lotus, keep the lotus, and very slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, you're rolling onto the mat. Bring the legs out and come into fish pose. So with the fish pose, you bring the top of the head onto the mat, and full posture would be to grab onto the top of the feet. So that's the full posture. A modification of this would be to release your legs, just lengthen your legs, come into a fish pose like this, and stay here for about 8 breaths, 8 to 10 breaths. Then, with the next one, you keep the top of the head on the mat, and you bring your legs and the arms up into a 60 degrees angle. Something like this. The legs can be a little bit lower even, and you will notice it in your abdominal muscles. It's quite challenging, this pose. And just do what you can. Try to stay here for about 8 breaths. And after the 8th breath, you can release very slowly, releasing the head. Traditionally, you would do a chakrasana, a backwards roll, or you just do a normal vinyasa. Inhaling here, upward facing, and exhaling, downward facing dog. And from here, hold on, we're actually coming into headstands. So you can just drop onto the knees. With the headstands, you can, some people say don't use the wall. I personally would recommend to use the wall because it really gives you some security. And as long as your arms are not strong enough and you don't find the balance, it's easy to tip over, and and in that process of tipping over, you can actually hurt yourself. But if you feel that you have a headstand practice and you don't want to use the wall, then that's totally cool. In order to get into the headstand, some people, and I think I quite like that too, recommend to grab onto the opposite elbows as a measure, and then elongating the hands, the arms, interlacing the fingers, and using this little space that was made with the hands to support the head. So try to bring the back of the head against those hands, so they will really support you. And please, please, please don't jump into the headstand, because that's when most accidents probably happen. That's when people tip over and hurt themselves. So for the first time, just come onto your feet and just slowly start walking very, very close, just a little bit closer. And for the starter, maybe just release one foot, maybe come back again, just one foot up, and maybe the other one leg up, just alternating between the legs and slowly finding your balance. And if you feel that you are making progress, you can start to come into a headstand. And it's really important not to bring your full body weight into your head. So really distribute the weight of the body in your arms. And here traditionally you would count 25 times, and after the 25th count you would come into headstand B, Sirsasana B, where you very slowly start bringing the legs down, but only halfway. And it's really helpful to shift the weight of the body into the buttocks. So you can see here very nicely how the weight is actually in this part of the body. It's recommended to stay here for 5 breaths, then very slowly coming back up with the inhale and exhale. You very slowly again come into child's pose, Halasana. Sometimes it can be very, very strenuous on the neck, and I quite like to bring the chin on the hands, something like this, and it really releases the neck area, so something like that. Yeah. But if the child's pose feels nice and comfortable for you, then just go for the child's pose. And here again, this is a counter pose for the headstand, and there are really some really nice adjustments as well. You can ask the people you are living with just to give you some adjustments. You can stay here again for about 8 breaths, and inhale. You can come up and do a vinyasa. How does it feel?
I prefer the
child's pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Step into plank again. Just yep. Inhaling and exhaling. And from here we're coming into seated posture. So the last few postures will be in the seated position, and if the lotus is in your practice, you come straight into the lotus. For the lotus, traditionally you would bring the right leg up first, and then the left leg comes after. And I believe the reason for that is because of the constellation of the organs, and energetically, potentially, it's an advantage to have it that way. But I don't really have a full science-based explanation for that. Yeah. So with the lotus, with this one, you try. Well, I can show you how it would look like if you come into bind. Again, you bring the left arm behind first and try to grab hold onto the big toe. And then the right arm goes on top and tries to grab hold on the other toe. If that's not possible, you just grab hold onto the elbows. Yeah. You inhale here and exhale, you slowly fold forward. And you can try to bring the forehead on the mat. I really like this pose. Somehow for me it feels like as if there is an energetic loop created that goes into the earth and back into my body. That's how I perceive it. And you can stay here for 5 breaths again. And after the 5th breath, with the inhale, you come up, you release the bind, and you're coming into the next posture where we're doing a hand gesture, a mudra. And it's called the chin mudra or the jnana mudra, where you bring the thumb and the index finger together. You lengthen your arms and you open up the palms up to the sky to receive. And if you can slightly bring the chin to the chest. Again, it's a reminder to activate that Ujjayi breath, to activate the locks. This pose is very energetic. And it's also a good opportunity to really start slowing down your whole system. You can start slowing down your breath. You can start slowing down the mind. And you can stay here for about 8 breaths as well. And after the 8th breath, you release the hands, and we're coming into the last posture where you bring the hands close to the buttocks.
Is the pranayama not part of the...
It's usually we're doing a pranayama, some breath work, for instance the Nadi Shodhana, but it's actually not part of the primary series or the Ashtanga series at all, but some people include it in that pose, but it's up to you. Again, if the full lotus is not in your practice, just have come into an easy cross. And the next pose would be to lift yourself up from the ground. Traditionally to stay there for 25 counts, but really try to stay up as long as you can. And it's really, really challenging. It's called Utpluthih. And if you cannot do the lotus, you can try to lift yourself up just like this and just stay here, and to really work on the abdominal muscles. Beautiful. And from here, you come into vinyasa.
I always have to be very careful with my feet because they're still in the lotus.
Inhaling, exhaling, and you can come into seated again. So we've just completed the finishing sequence, and the very, 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 very last posture would be the Savasana, the relaxation pose. Now I need to say a minor difference here, because I would also like to chant the closing mantra. And some teachers do it before Savasana and some teachers do it after Savasana. So I would like to show you the traditional way of doing it. Maybe if you can come into downward facing dog again. And then you step forward or jump forward, but not into seated, but into standing. Inhaling and exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, arms up. And exhale, Samastitihi. No, you don't have to jump on your feet.
Okay.
Just like this, yeah. You bring your hands into Namaste Mudra. And we're gonna do the closing mantra together. So again, it'll be in a call and response. So I sing first and Keta will sing after me. She'll repeat after me. And that closing mantra is there to, I really see the whole practice as some sort of ceremony. We start somewhere, we start with the mantra, and then we end this whole practice with the mantra as well. It's kind of it feels whole and it feels round. And we're starting with one Om together and ending with one Om and 3 Shantis together as well. Inhale for Om. Swasti Prajabhyaha, Swasti Prajabhyaha, Paripalayantam, Paripalayantam, Nyayena Magena, Nyayena Mageya, Mahi Mahishaha, Mahishaha, Go Brahmanebhyaha, Go Brahmanebhyaha, Shubhamastu Nityam, Shubhamastu Nityam, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace for all and for all beings. From here, inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Jump forward into seated. And from here, turn around into Savasana.
Do you want to explain why I turn around? Because I really like that.
Yeah.
How do you do that? It's not common.
In Eastern cultures, it's considered as rude to show the feet to the teachers. So if you imagine that a teacher is standing in front of you, it's a nice gesture to turn around. But I personally also like it because all of the action during the whole practice is happening at the top, and I quite like to soak in that energy that is still present. So yeah, that's just my preference. Yeah, and this is really the final pose, the Savasana, and it's meant to relax your whole body and to integrate whatever happened during that practice. It's to calm down your mind, it's to release any thoughts, it's to drop anything that's not serving you any longer. You can return to your natural breath, you can release the bandhas. Yeah, and
sometimes it's difficult to go back to natural breaths
Yeah.
because it is so used to use the
Ujjayi.
yeah.
Yeah. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please let us know. And I would like to ask Kate again how the practice is going for you.
Well, funny enough, when did you arrive here? Like
1.5 months maybe?
is it 1.5 or is it 1?
Oh yeah, maybe it's just
1
1 month, yeah.
Like 16th, you
Yeah.
said 17th.
Yeah.
So we've spent 1 month together, 4 weeks, and in that time we basically started right away to practice. And I feel yesterday was my first time of practicing all alone.
Well, I was not present. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she was not physically present in this room, and I did experience that very big challenge of showing up for yourself, having your mat, being alone, and yet doing it. And it was scary in the beginning, and yet it made me feel very, very confident because I know I can take that practice now. I have some tools that I can take with me. I'll take the mantra, I'll take that.
It's a cheat sheet for postures.
Well, yeah, to have some stable, still science whenever I need like guidance, and yet I feel very empowered because I integrated it, or it has become my practice, and that it has been a very big gift because she taught me something that I can live also without her physically being next to me. I can take that with me no matter where I go, and I can practice, and I have that feeling of no matter what is happening to me, I can still do my practice, and I know that I will feel more in alignment or more in peace. So whatever is troubling me, I know that I can return to that practice, and I'm confident that I will do it most often, and I'm very curious how I will decide and how my inner fight will be like, show up on the mat, don't show up, I can't. So this is going to be very, very exciting because I know that I can be very, very strict with myself and wanting that very, very much, very sharp. So this is going to be my dance, and this is going to be my dance. Enjoying being with people, I very much enjoyed. We also practiced a little with a friend of us, with the 3 of us, and I feel it is a wonderful feeling of being in one space and everyone is practicing his own rhythm and his own postures. I love that feeling, so I really hope for myself that I'm very sure that I'll find a place in Berlin where it is, if Corona is somewhere in the future gone and we will have spaces where we share physical practices in one room again, then I will be very, very pleased to share that practice and that feeling of we all show up, we're all devoting, we're all committing, and in the end it is committing, in the end it is devoting yourself to such a beautiful gift for yourself. In the end it's that. Right?
Yeah. Beautifully said.
It can also turn, and I wanted to add that, it can also turn into, you come to yoga and you say like, I have to do that yoga practice in order to be good, in order to be worthy of love, in order to be blah blah blah, enough, blah blah blah. And I believe personally, when you're stuck in that pattern of thinking, in that pattern of thought, that it can be a very destructive energy towards it. So I also know some people doing yoga who are so that you're putting so much energy in this direction that
It feels forceful.
It feels forceful, and it could be, my interpretation, my philosophy, it could be that it's more the other way around, that you destruct more than you wish. I don't know. I'm still finding out with myself, obviously, because this is how I know. Because I find myself thinking sometimes, and sometimes. So my invitation to you is to really check how peaceful your mind is with you. And even if posture is difficult and shitty, you can say, this is so hard, but still, I'm still showing up with
Be
love,
compassionate.
with
Be
yourself.
compassionate with yourself. Don't push yourself, don't force yourself into something just because you think you have to be somewhere. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. And see you soon, maybe.
Yeah. And love the postures that you hate. The wheel posture was so difficult for me in the beginning, and I hated it, and every time I had to go up, my whole system was closing down, and I started to switch, I started to shift my thoughts in, I love the wheel is the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me, and then I could do it, so play a little bit with your own fantasy, don't limit yourself in that.
Yeah,
It's very,
and
very powerful.
you will notice how the mind is tricking you. The mind is the biggest trickster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cannot do it, it's difficult.
Yes. Thank you for watching. Namaste.